Have you ever heard of the term subject to? Right now, there's a very common practice in real estate where we're starting to see more and more offers on our listings that are called subject to, meaning that the buyer wants to purchase the property, they want to ask the seller to deed them the property, and then of course they say that they'll make the mortgage payment on the existing loan. These are some risky types of maneuvers that some property owners are actually considering doing in the local market. So what I want to do is kind of share how it happens. I want to share some of the upside and the downside of it, and then you decide what you want to do going forward. But the first thing to look at is, let me give you an example. Let's say you have a $400,000 property, that's what you just purchased it for, let's say in the last year. And let's say it's worth somewhere between $400,000 and $410,000, so there's not a lot of equity. And let's just imagine for a minute you have a mortgage payment on it, let's just use a number of $3,000 a month. And you're falling behind on your payment, you're not able to keep up with it, and you'd like to get the property sold, but you're having a hard time doing it because you can't sell for what you owe on it. That's where these subject tos start to come into play. And what happens is these folks want to buy your property, have you deed them the property, and then they tell you that they're going to make the mortgage payment for you. Okay, so it sounds pretty attractive on the surface. Hey, I release myself of my obligation monthly to make a payment. Somebody else is responsible for the house. I'm free, but you're not. So here's the downside of a subject to. Subject to means that you're deeding them the property, but you are still responsible for the loan in almost every case. And what that means is that if that person who bought your property fails to make your mortgage payment that's supposed to be made, that affects your credit. The second thing you have to think about is that because you're still on that existing mortgage, when you go to access credit for other purchases, that might actually count against you and prevent you from doing some financing on other products that you might want to do in the future. Or even worse, if you're thinking about buying a home in the future and you still have that outstanding mortgage, a portion of that could count against you in terms of a monthly obligation. So these are all things that you need to think about. Another thought to consider is this: if you deed somebody your property and that person does not make the mortgage payment, the only way in which you're going to be able to cure this issue is maybe to hire an attorney and try to sue for the default, or in worst case scenario, the existing lender may choose to foreclose on the property altogether. In fact, once that property is sold, in many cases, mortgages actually have a due on sale clause. And so as soon as that purchaser buys the property and the lender catches wind of it, they're going to call the note due anyway, which puts yourself in a lot of jeopardy as well. So the whole point in doing this is just to keep this in mind. It's not a magic answer by any means to sell your property subject to. Get informed, talk to a legal professional, and get fully aware and informed about what your options are. What some folks have done, and we've seen it, is that if you are somebody, let's say, having financial difficulties, or you're going through a divorce right now, or you have some medical issues that popped up, or you have a job transfer, these are all things that sometimes require that property to get sold relatively quickly. And that's why these types of offers sometimes are attractive, but there could be some significant downsides. So make sure you talk to that attorney. In any case, thanks again for your time. Have a great day.